Trek teacher Lucy Coleman, and I'm here at Lake Joyce in the dry valleys of Antarctica. I'm with a team of researchers who are studying the effects of sedimentation on the microbial communities that are living under all of this ice in Lake Joyce. So we want to know how much sedimentation is going into the lake and how it's affecting the shapes of the microbial mats that are underneath us. And if you look off in the distance at the hillside behind me, you can see some evidence in the topography of seasonal streams that carry sediment into the lake from the glaciers that are up above the lake here. So we've devised a way to measure the amount of sedimentation that's collecting here over the course of a year. And I want to show you how that's possible. So right here we've drilled a 10-inch hole in the ice. The ice is about 4 meters, 5 meters thick here, and into this hole in the ice we've inserted a PVC pipe that goes all the way through the ice cover here. And we're going to put a few different things into this hole, including our sediment traps. And if you follow me over here by Justin, this is a sediment trap. Pick it up. That's all right. Yeah. So it's going to go down through that hole, and the lid here is eventually going to be able to fall off like so. So the sediment that falls in through this aperture right here will collect over the course of the year. The trap also has these plastic little wings on the bottom that should open up like so and cause the trap to move sideways before resting on the bottom of the lake. And that's to move the trap away from the sedimentation that might be falling as a result of us drilling a hole through the ice, which isn't exactly what we want to measure. We want to measure the sediment that would be collecting here naturally. Over here on the sled, we have a computer, and the computer is hooked up to this camera that we can lower with the cable into the hole, which is kind of nice because then when we try to deploy the sediment trap, we can follow it with this camera to see if it's actually working the way we want it to. So that's really helpful. So here you can see the view from our drop camera as the trap falls through the water, and you can see that it's falling off to the upper left corner of the screen, which means that it didn't fall directly below the hole, which is exactly what we wanted it to do. Okay, so here we have another section of PVC that's going to go down the outer casing that's in the ice that I just showed you. And one of the challenges that we have is that this lake is going to be frozen, and that hole is going to be frozen for pretty much as soon as we leave it until we come back next year. And so we needed a way to access the sediment traps next year without disrupting a lot of the sediment that's in the ice and kind of skewing our results. So this tube is going to go in that drill hole once we've inserted the sediment traps. This coil wrapped around it is something called heat trace, and it actually coils up through this section of pipe here too. And next year when the team comes back, they can plug it in and melt out this PVC pipe, and that will allow for us to have only the sediment that's in the sediment traps collecting naturally to be showing up in our design. Okay, so this is what our sediment experiment is going to be looking like for the next year. This is going to stay in place, and when the team comes back next year, they'll retrieve it. It's got this wood piece down here, and that's because wood is much less likely to melt into the ice, and we want this to stay in place. It's also holding the tubes, which are right here, and so that they don't melt in or fall into the lake. And all of this will be removed next year once the traps have been pulled up through the hole. kind of one of the neat things about this experiment, and one of the things that makes us all a little bit nervous, is that we're leaving this for a whole year, and we're hoping that everything is easy to recover next year, and we've done our best to set it up that way, but we won't know for a whole another year what the results of this experiment will be and how much sediment collects in these traps. So it's an exciting wait and see process, and I'll be really looking forward to hearing what the results are next year. Thanks.